Welcome to week 9 of the Tim and Chuck Show. I am Tim McDonough, joined by my esteemed colleague, Chuck Martinez-Brandon. As always, we're here to talk football. We've got a big game we need to talk about, Chuck.
Big game.
There are some rivalries here in Northwest Ohio that we talk about. Obviously, Defiance Napoleon is always one. That's right at the beginning of the year. But another big one that you know a little bit of something about. A little bit of something about.
A little bit of something.
A little bit of something, yes. Tenora and Ayersville.
Ayersville, yeah.
At Ayersville this year.
At the Laney's, right?
Yeah.
Craig McCord Field, yeah.
Yeah, Tenora coming off a huge win last week, knocking off Wayne Trace, sliding into the top 10 in the state in Division 4.
Yep.
Going over to see the Pilots. Before we talk about the game, can we just maybe talk about the rivalry and what it means to these kids on both sides of the river?
Yeah, you know, when you deal with rivalries like this, kids that might, you know, some of them in some cases might live in the same neighborhood. So you're dealing with kids that you've known your whole life, that you've played baseball in the backyard with or football in the backyard. You've known these guys for, 16 years or however long.
Yeah.
But what I tell kids is when you're in your 30s and 40s and you go to work, you might have to work with the guy who says, hey, remember when we got you back in 2013?
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with these guys the rest of your life probably if you stay in town. And, it's a friendly rivalry. Everybody gets along. Everybody's friends. Everybody works together. So it's one of those things. It's not just bragging rights for Friday or a week or the rest of the season. It's bragging rights for the rest of your life when you're living in town here.
Well, the thing that's great about it is it's not one of those rivalries that there's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of respect.
Exactly. There always is. It's always, hard fought game. And I think that comes from everybody knowing everybody and everybody being friendly. Some of those can get real nasty, but it's never like that. It's just, buckling it up a little extra tight because you want to get the best of your neighbor.
Yeah. So if you're Tenora coming into this game, Chuck, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, we are coming off a big win, we should be very confident, let's go over and play really well, or if you're Kenny Cross, do you have to guard against the letdown after that big win last week?
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit of both. We talk about it every week. A team that comes in on a roll with confidence is really a dangerous animal. Yeah. And when, we talked about it last week too, you got to be the champ, you got to beat the champ, and they beat the champ, so their confidence level should be sky high. At the same token, if you're Coach Cross, you got to say, hey, we're not done. We got a couple games left. That, in that region in Division 6, it's tough. If you mess up or slip up one time, you might be out. Yeah. So, they're coming in off a high, but they've got to continue to play at a high level.
Well, if you're Ayersville, you're fighting for your playoff lives as well, aren't you?
Playoff lives, exactly. There's a lot of computer points at stake. Slipped up last week over at Hicksville, and you come in against Sonora, you got rivalry games, you got playoffs. There's a lot of stuff on the line, but when you're a senior and you've had all that time in the weight room and all the time at practices and all the different things that you put into it, that's sort of what you want. I mean, you want to play for the big game. Everything in one pot, let's go do it.
And it's great that it's here at the end of the year. Not that there's anything wrong with the beginning of the year, but it just kind of adds something to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just adds all to it. And when you're in high school football, there's always games you circle on the calendar, and it always gives you something to look forward to at the end. And the GMC has that rotating schedule that you're right. Sometimes it's at the beginning, but when it's at the end, it really makes it nice. And there might be snowing, raining, but man, you get a big game like that, and you can block all that out and just have fun playing football.
I know we talk about it every week, but when it's a special rivalry like this, it's just got to be a lot of fun. Preparing for this game, and it's going to be great for the fans. I mean, that's what football is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be fun, and it's going to be fun this Friday, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. And I always think back to my playing days. One of my biggest memories, I should say, is lining up, opening kickoff in a big game like that, and you look up and there's people in the stands. There's 3 or 4 people deep around the fence, and that's what it's about. You just look up and say, man, it's go time. Let's get it done.
It's going to be like that on Friday, Yeah, and of course Tenora with the win could earn a share of the GMC, which obviously is what they're looking for. Another team looking to get a share this week is Bryan. They're still unbeaten. They play home against Swanton. Like I said, they can get a share of the NWOL. They're looking for that, and I think Kenton's pretty much got a stranglehold there on the WBL. They can get a share this week. Wapok's the only team with one loss there. We're getting to that time of the year where league championships are going to be won, and then pretty soon next week, when we're not only going to be talking about that, we're obviously going to be talking about playoffs. Yeah, playoffs. Are you kidding me? Playoffs? And we're looking forward to that. With that in mind, Chuck, why don't we give away some awards?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's start with the Rose Insurance Collision of the Week.
right.
Why don't you do that?
I will, because you know what, Tim?
What's that?
A rose by any other name would not be the Rose Insurance Collision of the Week.
Well, what do we have this week, Chuck?
This week we come from the Tenora-Wayne Trace game last week. We got Riley Nagel. He goes out wide to the right. Backfield mate Kirk Colley is handing out pancakes on the corner. Flat back somebody. Nagel just runs around the end. Big pickup. Great hit on the corner.
And if you see the play there, you see that there's a little extracurricular going on there. I see that Nathan Dravis comes in and puts a hit, albeit illegally, on Jake Gerber. But hey, he was a pretty good hit nonetheless.
Hard hitting affair.
Yeah.
It
was that kind of game.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Mr. Colley for getting the Rose Insurance Collision of the Week. You don't normally see that from a running back.
No, I'm telling you, they run it hard, they block it hard. They're some good ball players.
All right, well, let's talk about the Power Play of the Week. We've got Tenora quarterback Brevin Renolette. We'll swing past to Derek Dravis. He gets a nice block from Reed Renolette outside. And he puts a couple of moves on Corbin Showalter and Colby Speaks before running and diving into the end zone for a big touchdown against the Raiders. They go on to upset the previously unbeaten Wayne Trace Raiders. Big win, and they put themselves in the driver's seat in the GMC.
Yep.
Congratulations to Mr. Dravis for making things happen out there.
Yep, great play.
And maybe one last thing before we get out of here this week, Chuck. It's going to be freezing out there this week. They're talking about snow flurries. I think everyone better be bundling up for the weather. It's been beautiful all year.
Yeah, we've been shorts last week.
We've been talking about it all year, and then boom, fall comes and smacks us in the face. What are you going to be wearing this week, Chuck, on the sideline? Holy cow!
Layers, lots of layers. That's what I was watching highlight films. You see Coach Minsel out at Tenora. He's always got his backward hat and his shorts on, no matter what the weather is. Man, I'm layering up.
I don't blame you. I will say this. Defiance is playing its last game at home this week. I'm looking forward to closing the window and turning on the little heater underneath me. Keep my toesies warm. Thank you, Defiance High School. We'll be back for week 10 to kind of put a little bow on the season, see what big games we have next week. As always, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And remember, when you're talking the Tim and Chuck show, you're talking football.
Yeah.